Hi students, this is the second lecture of our S-block elements topic where we will be studying about the chemical properties of group number 1 and 2 as usual in a parallel manner. So we will take up a particular property of the elements and we will study it for group 1 alkali metals as well as group 2 alkaline earth metals. Before we take up individual properties, let us just check about the reasons why these elements are greatly reactive. Just to revise this, in group 1 we have elements lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. One of the most strongest reactive elements are group 1 elements. And what are the reasons for them? One of the first reasons is the low ionization enthalpy values. Since the ionization enthalpy values are very small, they can easily lose the electrons, they can easily form the cations, and ionic compound formation is little quick. Second thing is they have low heat of atomization. That means if little amount of heat is supplied, they can convert from cluster or molecule to the atom form in the vapor form. Third, we saw it in the previous lecture about heat of hydration, that they can easily break the existing bond and they can form new bonds very fast. Similar properties comparison, if you check for group 2 elements, also you can see a lot of similarities. They are also strongly electropositive elements, but comparatively little less reactive. Now the reasons for them are almost parallel, you can see. They also have lower ionization enthalpy, but values are slightly greater than group 1. They also have low heat of atomization, but slightly greater than group 1. And they also have high heat of hydration, once again, but slightly lesser than group number 1 elements. So these are the basic reasons why group 1 and group 2 elements are the most reactive elements in the entire periodic table. We will take up now individual reactions. The most prominent reaction which we study is called reducing nature. Now, to understand the reducing nature here, we have to know a property which is usually taught in 12th standard. This is known as electrode potential. Electrode potential is of course a number, but that number tells us about the tendency of a metal or a non-metal to lose or gain of electrons. Electrode potential is of two types. Number one, oxidation potential, where elements can lose electrons. Reduction potential, where they can gain electrons. I hope everyone remembers oxidation is loss of electron, reduction is gain of electrons. If these metals or electrodes are maintained at standard conditions, by standard conditions we mean 298 Kelvin, 1 molar concentration, 1 atmosphere pressure. The potential measured is known as standard electrode potential. According to IUPAC conventions, standard reduction potential is taken as the most standard one. So we will be considering the standard reduction potential for all our measurements. Now comes the rule. More negative is the standard reduction value. Higher is the ability to lose electrons. Stronger that element will act as a reducing character. I repeat this golden sentence once again. What we said, more negative is the E naught reduction value. Higher will be the ability to lose electrons and stronger will be the reducing character. Let us apply this principle now to alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. So just for comparison of these elements, I have given the values here. We do not have to by heart these values at all. Now see the values, look at them. Lithium to cesium, beryllium to barium. You can see I'm repeating that sentence once again. More the negative value, stronger will be the reducing nature. So if you look at the group 1 elements, you can see the tendency of the element go in this direction. Lithium, which is most negative value, minus 3.04. After that comes minus 2.93. Then comes 2.927. Then comes 2.925, 2.714. Out of this entire information, you are only supposed to by heart the last two lines which are given, that is the rule and the order of reducing nature. We will be utilizing this information at several other places also. Let us check a problem which is given in your NCERT textbook about the same thing. Here we are taking different elements, metals and non-metals. So we have to think about the arrangement of these elements and find out which is the most reducing strength element. Think for a while and I will display you the answer. Starting from most negative to the most positive. So check if you have done it correctly. The order goes as lithium, sodium, iodide, silver, chloride. This is the order from most negative to most positive. So the reducing will be most negative will be the strongest one. So that is why lithium, then sodium, iodide, silver, and then chloride. Go through the entire problem once again quickly. These kind of questions in MCQs are possible. What is exact reduction potential and all? The details are there in 12th standard, a chapter called electrochemistry. Now, although we say lithium is the most reducing element, of course, but it is found that practically it has still more exceptionally higher value. That means the property is quite strong in lithium. For that, we have to see three more properties with it. That is the total of enthalpy of sublimation, ionization enthalpy, and hydration enthalpy. So when they discovered about this property, scientists came to know that merely finding reduction potential is not sufficient. And we have to know the total of these three values. What they found out was lithium has the lowest total plus 136 kilojoule compared to all other strong reducing element, sodium, potassium. That is why it was thought that lithium is the exceptionally strong reducing nature. One of the example of how these elements behave as reducing nature are these reactions. Now you'll understand what is meant by reducing nature, what I'm saying from last 5 minutes. This element, if you take example here, sodium, can react with water and it displaces hydrogen. Sodium reacts with ethanol, displaces hydrogen. Similarly, lithium can react with terminal alkyne to displace hydrogen. This kind of reactions are called reducing nature reactions. These are most strongly found in alkali metals. Among alkali metals, most strongly found in lithium. If you now come to the next property after reducing nature, is reaction of alkali metals with oxygen. Whenever oxygen reacts with alkali metals or even alkaline earth metals, it can form oxide, peroxide, and superoxide. Now you can see there are three different ions we are talking about. Oxide, it has a charge of O minus 2. Peroxide, it has a charge of O2 with 2 minus. And superoxide, which has a similar structure to peroxide, exception that one electron is less. So the three ions which they form are called oxide, also known as normal oxide, peroxide, superoxide. Their sizes are found to be oxide is of largest size anion, then peroxide, and then superoxide. Usual observation is if a cation is too small, it does not form peroxide or superoxide easily. Remember this sentence very well. If cation is too small, it can form oxide easily, but not easy to form peroxide and superoxide. What is found is group 1 elements can form normal oxide, peroxide, and superoxide, but alkaline earth metal can form normal oxide, peroxide, but not superoxide. We will of course take individual element and what they can form after this, but these are the general rules. Along with oxygen reaction, we must now take how group 1 and group 2 separately react with it. First thing is about the storage. Chemical reactivity of group 1 down the group increases. They can react with air, moist air, and their surface usually tarnishes. Tarnish means becomes blackish. That is why they are stored in medium like kerosene. Lithium cannot be stored like this because lithium has very low density and it can float on the kerosene and its surface once again reacts with air. So it is wrapped in paraffin wax and kept it. Now how they react with air, for that we have to see series of reactions. Example taken here is sodium. Sodium first reacts to form Na2O. Now this Na2O then reacts with moisture from air to form NaOH. This NaOH absorbs carbon dioxide from air and converts into sodium carbonate. So you can see surface sodium slowly converts into first sodium oxide, hydroxide, and then carbonate. This is that sodium carbonate which will be present on the surface and it tarnishes the surface. Now, this was, of course, reaction on the surface. But what about the reactions, proper reactions? So let us see now oxygen, how it reacts with alkali metals. Remember these sentences, what I'm displaying right now, very important one. Lithium forms monoxide, formula Li2O. But along with this, little of peroxide is formed. Sodium can form peroxide, but minor product is superoxide. And potassium, rubidium, and cesium can major form superoxide. Their oxides and peroxides are usually unstable. To give a proper list and their properties, remember this table. Lithium is able to form Li2O. Whatever is written in round bracket with the formula, it means it is unstable. So lithium oxide is stable, peroxide is unstable. For sodium, oxide is unstable, superoxide is unstable, peroxide is stable. For potassium, rubidium, cesium, their earlier compounds, oxides and peroxides, almost do not exist. They form only superoxide. So to give a sample of every reaction, you can see here lithium sample reaction of oxide is shown, sodium peroxide is shown, and for superoxide, I've just written here M, where M can be potassium, rubidium, or cesium. One line about their stability. Usually when size of cation increases, stability increases. As we know, down the group, cation size increases. Down the group, cation size increases. So stability of superoxide increases. This is first information about them. Also observe in the table that oxide and peroxide are diamagnetic. Superoxide is the only one which is paramagnetic. Diamagnetic indicates almost non-magnetic. Paramagnetic means weakly magnetic. Out of these peroxides, potassium peroxide is found to be the most useful one. And when it comes in contact with water, it can release oxygen. Also, it has an ability to absorb carbon dioxide. So in the breathing apparatus, emergency breathing apparatus, they use potassium peroxide powder. Now there are two reactions in which it is represented. Either the reaction where potassium peroxide is able to react with water, then able to grasp carbon dioxide. Or another way is directly potassium peroxide reacting with carbon dioxide. In any case, either this set or this one, oxygen is liberated. So it helps in breathing. Now we have seen this oxide formulae, oxide, peroxide, superoxide. How to remember them? Just check this particular trick. Normal oxide, you have metal, whether it is normal oxide, peroxide, superoxide. Metal is having a charge +1 because they are all alkali metals. What is changing is oxide, peroxide, and superoxide ka charge. So you just write the charges in cross. This 2 is written here with M, so it becomes M2O. This 2 is written here, so the formula becomes M2O2. Both are here +1 -1, so the formula is MO2. So general formula of normal oxide of alkali metal M2O, peroxide M2O2, superoxide MO2. Another point of information, we had seen that superoxides were paramagnetic. Now from molecular orbital theory, we had seen this configuration in the chemical bonding topic. You can see all the molecular orbitals here are paired. Only this last pi star 2py orbital contains one electron here. Due to that one single unpaired electron, superoxide ion becomes paramagnetic. Hence, all superoxide compounds are paramagnetic in nature. Let us come to now group 2 elements compounds of oxygen. This information is quite easy compared to group 1. Beryllium is that way less reactive with oxygen. If you are having chunks of beryllium, but if you take powdered beryllium, then its reactivity increases. Calcium, strontium, barium, they are quite more reactive. So they are kept in either kerosene or paraffin. Beryllium and magnesium, once react, can form a surface film of oxide. Due to that particular surface film, further reactivity decreases. The compounds which they can form here are beryllium to barium. Everyone can form oxide except radium. Peroxide is formed only by strontium, barium, and radium. How to prepare these compounds? There are two reactions we can know. For beryllium, magnesium, and calcium, you can take the element, directly burn with oxygen. You will get their oxide. But for other strontium, barium, and all, you can take their carbonate and heat it. You will get their corresponding oxide. Due to very high value of enthalpy of formation, the heat of formation, these are very stable compounds. Also, they have high melting point. They are good conductors of heat, but chemically they are not that reactive. Beryllium compounds mostly are covalent. They are insoluble in water and have polymeric structure. We don't have the structure of beryllium oxide in syllabus, so they just say polymeric structure. We have a small set of reaction about nitrogen. When they react with air, in air we have nitrogen also. So lithium can react with nitrogen to produce ruby red solid of lithium nitrite. Remember, other sodium, potassium and all, they don't react with nitrogen at all. This lithium nitride can be decomposed to give lithium back. They can react with water to produce lithium hydroxide. So these are individual reactions only of lithium, do not react with sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Here all the elements, group 2, all the elements can react with nitrogen. And reactivity in fact keeps on increasing down the group. So generally if I show you a reaction, it is 3 times any metal, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, anything is written as M. It forms nitride. These nitrides can break down to form nitrogen. They also can react with water to form their hydroxides. This is a very small note about reaction with nitrogen. Then comes reaction with water. Group 1 elements can react with water to release hydrogen gas. Also, they are forming their hydroxides, which are, as you know, basic in nature. Due to the most negative E0 value of lithium, its reaction with water is less vigorous than sodium. The reason is because perhaps it has small size and hydration enthalpy is very high. Otherwise, reactivity order keeps on increasing ahead. Group 2 elements also in a similar manner react. They also produce hydroxide and hydrogen. But some special point here. Beryllium absolutely does not react with water. You give room temperature water, boiling water, steam, cold water, it will not react at all. Magnesium specifically reacts with only boiling water. Calcium, strontium, barium are so reactive, they can react with tap water also. And accordingly, the reactivity order you can see beryllium का कोई mention नहीं है यहाँ पर. Reactivity begins from magnesium onwards. Next, we have reaction with halogens now. Group 1 elements react with halogen and they form their corresponding halides, like lithium halide, sodium, potassium. And among halogens, as we know, fluorine is the most reactive element. Let us see some characteristics. All the halides are ionic in nature, but lithium halide is covalent due to Fajan's rules. Also, a lot of specification about lithium. Under that, lithium fluoride is ionic in nature, but lithium chloride, bromide, iodide are covalent in nature. They are insoluble in water, but they can dissolve in organic solvents. Halides of potassium, rubidium, and cesium can react with extra hydrogen to form polyhalides. So Ki, for example, reacts with I2 to form Ki3. These are called polyhalide ions. Let us check for group 2 now properties. Similarly, they also can react with their halides, halogens, and order and everything is quite similar like group 1 elements. But this is not the only method to synthesize halides. Group 2 gives you a little larger amount of reactions. You can either take metal and react with HCl, HBr, HI. You can take a metal oxide and react with HCl, HBr, HI. You can take a carbonate and react. You can take a hydroxide and react. So important thing you can see is to prepare MX2, you did not every time take metal and halogen. It can react with HX and it can be metal, metal oxide, carbonate or hydroxide. Only byproducts keep on changing. None of these methods work for beryllium. And for beryllium, you have special methods. Beryllium oxide reacts with ammonia and HF. In 2 steps, it produces beryllium fluoride. Beryllium oxide can react with carbon and chlorine to form beryllium chloride. It can react even with a very inert one, carbon tetrachloride, and can form beryllium dichloride. So for beryllium, we need to remember separate set of reactions. Let us come to hydrogen reaction now. Group 1 elements and group 2 both react with hydrogen and it forms metal hydride. What is meant by hydride? Element of hydrogen, ion of hydrogen where it is H minus. All metals react with hydrogen at 673 Kelvin, but for lithium, higher temperature is needed. Let us see some special characteristics. All alkali metal hydrides are ionic solids, high melting point, but ionic character decreases down the group. Stability decreases down the group. Lithium and sodium, they can form special complex hydrides known as lithium aluminium hydride, sodium borohydride. We will be using these compounds in organic chemistry as reducing agents. Here it is found that AlH4 minus and BH4 minus, they have sp3 hybrid, so that is why their structures are tetrahedral structures. These hydrides can show reactions with water, alcohol, ammonia, and terminal alkynes. In all the reactions, they can displace hydrogen molecule. Let us come to group 2 elements, and the reactivity with hydrogen is quite similar. Except beryllium, all can react with hydrogen. For beryllium, we have a different method from beryllium chloride. If you can observe, this is lithium aluminium hydride, which we saw on the previous screen. Beryllium hydride and magnesium hydride are covalent and polymeric. It shows a very peculiar structure, you can see. Watch the structure. What is marked here is known as a bridge bond. So there are bridge bonds of beryllium, hydrogen, beryllium. They are known as banana shaped bond. Also, you can see the one which is drawn here alternately, this one, then this one. These are flat plane, while these ones written alternately, they are perpendicular to this plane. So if this is one single plane, this one is at 90° to it. Then stability keeps on decreasing down the group. Calcium hydride has a special name called hydrolith because it can react with water to produce hydrogen gas in a very quick manner. So in industry, CaH2 is used as an industrial method of preparation of hydrogen. One small reaction set of sulfur and phosphorus. Group 1 elements can react with sulfur and phosphorus to form sulfide and phosphide. So it will be either sodium sulfide, sodium phosphide, and so on. And these sulfide and phosphide can react with water to produce their compounds like hydroxides. Very similar reactions you can see with group 2 elements where their corresponding sulfide phosphide are produced, and they have a tendency to react with HCl to produce H2S and PH3 known as phosphine. We come to the last reaction set, that is called reaction with liquid ammonia. This is a very individual special reaction of group 1 and group 2. Group 1 elements can dissolve in liquid ammonia. Their solubility is as high as 5 molar, tremendous amount can dissolve. And the compounds which are obtained are deep blue in color. This metal which you are taking like sodium, potassium, anything can react with ammonia. Now understand this equation given written this way. This metal first of all breaks down into M plus and electron. And those M plus and electron get covered with ammonia molecule. So the electrons are called therefore ammoniated electrons. Electron covered by ammonia. They can absorb the photon of red wavelength and they appear blue in range. If the solution is dilute, then they are dark blue. When concentration goes to 3 molar, it is copper bronze. And when it goes to 5 molar, it is deep blue in color. So dilute dark blue, 3 molar copper bronze, 5 molar deep blue. What are their properties? These, because they have free electrons, they are good conductors of electricity. Also, they can act as a strong reducing agents. Like these can react with ammonia to form their amide. Also, since electrons are freely available, they are paramagnetic in nature. But if concentration increases, paramagnetic comes down to diamagnetism. So these are the three properties of alkali metals of with ammonia. Group 2 elements also can form similar reactions, but not very strong as group 1. For example, this can be one of the reaction represented. Same reaction can be represented this way, where we are just writing the charge outside. So either you can write the charge here and show ammonia afterwards, or write ammonia inside and show +2. You can show in any one of the manners. And you can evaporate this ammonia just by heating and you will get the amide produced.